surrender.
Hmm. One thing is but till now actually I was feeling that awareness, nature of the awareness
Gets reflected in the mind. It's like in your dream, the dream girl is you only.
That is not at all my this one. It is happening. It is all that.
Correct.
But only thing is that this, when you say that it should be consistently, when you say that it should be consistency, it, again counter this one, that what I feel is that I am feeling that surrender, but sometimes I lose means. I feel that this surrender also is not under my list. You see, this idea of surrender also, myself, it has come automatically.
No.
And
see,
if I fail also, I feel like that this is also the play of God.
Then don't do anything. No, then you should not have any questions. Then you should not come here also. See, is nothing to be done. See, if you understand surrender properly.
But these vasanas are there, that is also pushing it.
So, the vasanas are pushing it. Okay. Now, you can say, let the vasanas come. Whatever vasanas come, I don't do anything.
Not doing anything is also vasana.
See, you have to stop somewhere.
No,
you see, everything.
No, I'm asking you, is this the right way? I'm asking.
No, I'm saying the surrender, definition of surrender in all the spiritual teaching, you have to understand clearly. The surrender happens at multiple levels. Okay. There are people who will not do anything, not even lifting their hand. No, I'm saying to the extent that there's also current surrender. That's what I'm telling you. That's what exactly is done. Surrender. Surrender can happen at multiple levels.
I think that surrender is a recognition of it, not an action.
Surrender is recognition. So, very simple. So, Suresh Kumar has to be alive tomorrow. It's God's will, no? Okay? Don't do anything. Let the food come to you.
That also is not my hand.
What is that?
Doing nothing is also not in my hand. It is like the play, it is going on. I can only, even recognizing that this is happening automatically is not also my doing.
So, if it is everything is your doing, everything is not your hand, then don't do anything.
Don't do anything means again there is a doership in that also. It's not to do anything.
What is your question? See, if you have surrendered completely, then there are no questions will be there.
The question is that I will tell you. One more question was that what I was telling you, that this one attitude for that.
Okay.
If I follow this.
So I'll tell you what people do as surrender. Okay, I'll give you examples. Okay. See, surrender is just a word. Surrender means many things to many people. In whatever way you want to interpret, you'll interpret. Right? A sannyasi or a monk, he says, I have surrendered my life. Okay. That's the extreme surrender. Okay. Surrender is a choice. I surrender my will to God. That after that, I will not ask questions. Like after surrendering, I will not ask questions. Whatever God wills, I'll happen. So sannyas is the one person who takes monkhood. He says, I am surrendering my life to God. Okay. Then he says, he'll take couple of oaths. Okay. Couple of do's and don'ts, which is self-imposed. First thing he'll say, I will not keep any money more than one day. Second is, I will not take any food more than one day. I will not possess anything other than the clothes. This is called surrender. This is a definition of surrender. So you have to define what surrender means to you, right? Because surrender is a very, very flexible term. We can stretch it whatever our advantage or our mind. So you have to be you have to define what surrender means. Otherwise, what will happen? You keep on twisting the word surrender itself.
That's why I want that my definition is the correct.
No, I'll tell you what are the range of surrenders which people do. Then you tell me where you stand, right? So there is a monk. This is a story which really happened. This is the guru of Swami Chinmayananda. Okay. He followed his oaths of monk very precisely. He will not keep food for more than a day and he will not have clothes. One day he was going in Himalayas. The rule or teaching in sannyasis that you cannot keep more than one day because God will take care of you. God will take care of you. That is the definition. Okay. So he was going and he got stuck in Himalayas. There was a storm. Then he doesn't know way. He lost his way. He thought, where will I go? Then he is so hungry. He is tired. He thought, I will die. He fell down. Okay. Then he lost thought in his mind is that it is told that God will take care. I don't know how God will take care in this place. So he collapsed. Then after some time he woke up. Some robbers were there. The robbers put water on his face and they woke him up. They gave food. They thought the robbers were robbing the businessman on the road, businessman in the Himalayan region. They saw some yellow color box is there. Some businessman left something. They came there. This monk is collapsed. They woke him up and gave food. The food came before he died. So he said, God's promise is fulfilled. I'll take no food. This is surrender. And they live every day. This is the rule I follow for surrender. You have to, whatever rule you have put, you have to follow. This is the surrender. Okay. The rule with them put themselves is that I will not accept anything from, I will not keep anymore. That's the rule. Others you can keep on twisting. I'll eat food today because my hunger is there. I'll eat food. And that's also God's will. That's not that. It's a discipline for taming the mind. Surrender, the policy of discipline is taming your mind. Okay. So then, no, Sunday, I have taken the oath. I'll eat food today. Only God has told me, no. Then whatever you are giving it to the mind. You are playing with the mind, not with the God. So because you are twisting the surrender. So you have to define surrender very clearly, and I follow this policy of surrender no matter what comes. Okay. Others, what happen, your mind is very good in tricking. So it will keep on. This whole is a game of mind. So you have to define what surrender means to me, and I have to strictly follow that. And you should not violate that. Okay. So I'll tell you next story. So I'll tell a couple of things, then you'll ask the question. Right. So Mata Amrutanmayi was there. Mata Amrutanmayi, young girl. She used to chant God's name. She used to pray to God. Okay. She used to sing and dance God's name. It's a young girl, 7-year-old, fisherman's girl. Then fisherman family thought that she's mad. They threw her out of the house. Okay. This girl said, God will take care. See, young girl of 7 years thinking God will take care. Okay. And she was singing and dancing in the beach of Kerala. A young girl, imagine that. Then she had no house. And she used to feel tired and sleep. And a dog used to come and give us a pillow to her. That's God taking care. Then one eagle used to bring one fish and put in her mouth. The God taking care. Now what we are saying, our thoughts are God's given. Actually, God will respond from the objectivity, not just subjectivity. The God's response, when you are surrendered totally, will come objectively, not just in your imagination. Okay, because you have given everything. Whether I want to die, it's God's wish. I want to alive, God's wish. So that fish every day, exactly at 12 o'clock, one fish used to come and feed her. The dog used to come and this thing. One cow used to go and give her milk. And there is a total surrender. God, if He wishes for me to die, then she can also say, I have a desire for food and give me some food and I can go back. No. If God wills me, I will die. So that is the actually you are putting a boundary to the mind. This up to this you can go. Beyond this you can't go. Okay. This is surrender. And once you surrender, you have to define what surrender means to you. Otherwise, you keep on twisting. The mind will keep on twisting the surrender. See, the whole spiritual practice is putting a discipline to the mind. The surrender is a policy which I am adopting so that my mind becomes pure. Whatever happens in life, I'm not afraid. Otherwise, I'll twist my whatever I want in life. So then, if you say that is also not under control, then you are allowing the mind to go anywhere. So then allow that mind to go anywhere. Then don't ask any questions of any spirituality or spiritual journey. Let it happen. That's also surrender. But then never get into that. See, what happens is that sometimes you are switching here, sometimes you are switching there. That doesn't work that way. If you are convinced that nothing is in my hand, everything is God's will, whatever has to happen, God's will, stay. In fact, I would say that stay here, don't move. If a God wills you to go to house, you'll go. To that extent, people do surrender. Swami Vivekananda went with, I'll give you an example of them and I'll give my example also. I've seen what it means. Swami Vivekananda with his friend, they went to Calcutta. So they didn't have one single paisa in the pocket. So the friend said, how will you survive in Calcutta? No food will come. Swami Vivekananda said, the God will give us food. So when they got down from the railway station, there was a, this one, what is it? One horse-drawn cart was ready. One businessman got a dream yesterday night saying that Vivekananda is coming and his friend is coming, take them. He takes them and gives them food. Vivekananda doesn't do anything. If he dies, he dies. He will not go and beg for food. The mind will say, I need food, I want to survive. So the desire also comes from mind. See, the desire comes from two directions. Please understand. One is come Prakriti, the nature. Okay, the nature will always create fear, anxiety, fear, desire. The entire spiritual journey is to overcome nature. So your thought will come to, okay, let me do something. So then he says God's will. God's will is, there are two wills, there are two functions which are happening. One is the will which pulls you upwards and one which pulls you downwards. The Prakriti or nature pulls you toward natural tendencies. The spiritual journey is to overcome this natural tendency. That's where you say surrender. I will not succumb to this natural tendency. There a will is there. The will is there to surrender the will. Then there is another, this is one level. Okay, this I am giving the example of monks. Then other kind of surrender is there. A surrender is a discipline of the mind. Okay, surrender is not only policy, it's a discipline of the mind. I'm speaking of not a total surrender, which is actually when total surrender happens is enlightenment only, the final enlightenment only. We are not speaking of that. We are speaking of the people who have the mind and they understand the play of the mind. They surrender. Okay, surrender is I have a what I can surrender. I have ego. Which ego, main effect of ego is doership. So let me surrender doership. How do I surrender doership? Ego is always the Prakriti or nature is selfish. I want this, I want this, I want this. So I will always do where there's no selfish interest. Now, is that selfish? Is there a desire? Yes, it is a desire. But desire is to overcome the Prakriti, the nature. Okay, that's not wrong. That is the desire. There are two desire pulls. One is called pull towards the Prakriti and pull towards the higher consciousness. The pull towards higher consciousness is a desire. So surrender to the pull to the higher consciousness is also called surrender. Surrender into will of God. So the will of God is pulled towards the higher consciousness. Will of Prakriti is toward natural tendencies. Now, every time we'll get a choice. Between every moment of our life, we'll get a choice between the pull of higher and pull of lower. So you say pull of lower is also God's will. Then okay, that's also God's will. But then what happened to us is we will take the course of nature, Prakriti. The Prakriti will take us to enlightenment. Prakriti will take every single being to enlightenment. Okay. That's over millions of lifetimes. The nature, so far we have come to human being after 84 million lifetimes. There's a slow evolution happens in nature. Prakriti or nature is also God's will. But are we surrendered to Prakriti or are we surrendered to higher consciousness is the question. So higher consciousness means working selflessly. Now, is that selfish to work selflessly? It is selfish. But here you are trying to overcome your tendency of the Prakriti, nature. It is simple. I have a problem of diabetes. Should I work? I know the diabetes. Should I say I should take medicine for diabetes? It's God's will. Whatever happens, happens. You also may have diabetes. So God's will, whatever happens to happens. Why you are taking medicine? Don't do anything. Diabetes, you can know God. What happens to you also is God's will. But that you don't do. You'll go and take medicine. Right? You're not consistent. If you're really consistent, diabetes has happened, let it happen. So you'll allow. So what you're doing is you're inconsistent. At sometimes you're going for Prakriti, at sometimes you think it's God's will. What you should do, you should have a principle and clarity about surrender. That comes from Jnana. You say Jnana makes me, I'm non-doer. Perfect. The same Jnana will tell you what is surrender, what's boundary. That boundary is very clear. So in that you cannot have you cannot compromise because you have to know where you are going to Prakriti or where you are going to God's will. Higher pull and lower pull. There you have to draw a boundary. That's surrender. A person who has surrender will never succumb to the lower will. He always consistently chooses the higher will. He chooses. In surrender, you have a will to surrender. If you have surrendered on the will, then there's nothing to surrender. Then there's no question will be there. That is enlightenment actually. If you have really surrendered, it's enlightenment. Then what is there to do? If there's no enlightenment, then the surrender has not happened. Surrender requires a consistency and clarity in surrender. That consistency and clarity is to overcome the lower tendency of mind. So that is the prescription from time immemorial is the Karma Yoga. From ancient rishis to modern day time, the rishis say when some Shishya comes, they will not use Jnana. They will say first do Karma Yoga. That polishes the selfishness. The karma is cause of bondage. Karma itself cause of freedom. The mind becomes very crystal clear in Karma Yoga. And I know this because I have done this. I know exactly what it means. The mind becomes very clean if you do selfless action. Doing selfless action is selfishness, but selfishness cures you disease of selfishness, right? So this is my overview. And what happened to me? Okay, it's not an accident. I worked for several years. When I do a single work, I was doing the work as a service to God, as an offering to God. I didn't have a question of enlightenment. When I joined my job, everybody does the job for money or some promotion or this thing. I was doing whatever I'm doing is a service to the country, service to the people. I was every moment I was serving, and that purified my mind. That's what triggered in that flood of openings. I did it unconsciously. Why did I unconsciously? Because it must be my past karma which has brought me there. It's not that I knew it, but now looking back, I understand what all happened. At that selfless activity, did a lot of inner cleaning up in me, and that inner cleaning opened. Then I read the scriptures. Everywhere they're saying, "Oh, selflessness is required." Then I understood. The primary problem for human being is the doership. Ego causes doership and ownership. Now, in the selfless activity, consciously you're trying to overcome the forces of ego. Now, if you say that's also God's will, then you are not making a conscious choice. Then don't make any conscious choice consistently. Don't do conscious choice in everything. Whether taking medicine or eating food, don't make any conscious choice. But you don't do that. You actually take a bypass. I'm saying consistency in surrender is important. Clarity in surrender is important. How does the clarity come? Clarity doesn't come automatically. Clarity comes through jnana. Jnana comes in the company of jnanis. Jnana doesn't come automatically. Unconsciousness becomes conscious automatically. For that, satsanga or company of jnanis bring clarity. So surrender initially, okay, till you do surrender, initially it's a conscious effort. When it has become total surrender, it's unconscious. It's nothing you have to do. And the conscious effort in surrender, you always have to consistently choose between the forces of nature versus forces of higher forces. Forces of selfishness versus forces of unselfishness. That's a conscious. There's a choice to be made. Now you have said, if you say, I have surrendered my will, then you have to apply consistently in your life. Right from getting up, dressing up, eating food, everything you have to apply. You cannot be inconsistent. I'm saying, no, ego will be partial, no. You will say one surrender, then immediately if the health problem is there, you go to doctor. Why don't you wait for the God to cure it? You don't do that because you are surrendering to Prakriti. So you have to be consistent, okay? Whatever is there, I will not do anything. It's God's will. Even if I die, nothing will happen. That's a policy. That's a surrender. But then you have to apply consistently. You cannot be partial. Somewhere you cannot bypass. In the whole process of surrender, what will happen is that we are actually bending the forces of ego. The ego, we are touching it, pulling out the root. Ego is very clever. It keeps on giving reasons. It will always give a logical reason. But if your policy is clear, your principle is clear, the ego will dissolve. That's my understanding. So ultimately, please understand, any spiritual practice you do is to root out the ego. And the ego is very smart. It will give you enough answers. It will tell it will tell all answers are become God. Okay. I have understood also, we'll say. But if you look at the statements, there is a lot of inconsistency. Two statements of what you say will be totally inconsistent. That is the nature of ego. If you are on the path of truth, there will be no inconsistency. Look at your own life. Are you consistent in surrender in all aspects? You say, I am not the doer. Then why are you taking medicine? Why are you eating food? Why are you going to office? So you say it's by pull. It's a pull of nature, Prakriti. Now, pull of nature, how you want to overcome or you want to allow the pull of nature to continue? You do that. That's also okay. But the pull of nature, the entire spiritual teaching is that you can overcome the pull of nature by constantly surrendering, consistently, not by partially. And that's the reason people take discipline, like fasting, like journey, like tapas, like meditation, contemplation. Entire effort is to overcome the forces of ego. Now, why people do meditation? Why people go to sadhana? They understand the problem of ego. They are trying to overcome that. Now, to overcome the problem of ego is not ego, because you are trying to work against that. If you are consistent, the ego will dissolve. If you are inconsistent, you will succumb to the ego.
Seeing all this, I understand what you are telling. This one is that what my question is that is my view correct? Now, before you tell that this correct or not, I will tell me